Howdy, David. I have documented proof of senior veteran abuse and twisting and churning in Colorado from an FFL agent. A cease and desist letter from them in January 2022 from being honest in Facebook groups about FFL's unethical activities. A little bit of history since I've been with them since 2015 and still technically with them. I write back, hold on. You continue in the SMS. I need to be anonymous because they do not release to us and we do not release to them, but I'm willing to jump on a recorded call, certified documents, letters, audios directly to a court appointed lawyer, among other things. We do continue to use their leads, even though we currently hold no contracts with them. No problem, no rush. What's going on?
A little bit of story. I've had my insurance license for about 8 years. I joined Family First Life from Symmetry Financial Group way back in the day. January 2015 is when my first set of contracts were approved. I've seen that company evolve. I've seen them get the integrity deal, go on from there with the agency building, lead selling, and selling insurance to clients and whatnot. What made me mad actually happened in 2017, and this was out of my control. For the most part, I had downline agents that gave me some roll-up debt. I tried to put these agents on a contract to pay back their debt so that they can keep selling, that I will be happy and make sure that debt will end up being paid. Corporate level told me that we don't do contracts at Family First Life. You can't send your downline agents contracts even if there's a roll-up debt coming. And I'm like, okay, well, that's kind of backward. Am I supposed to recover these commission debt? Most of my contracts, except for one, ended up getting terminated because it was a huge roll-up debt, over $100,000 worth.
How are you supposed to get paid back on the roll-up debt if you don't have a contract?
There's no contract. You can't do it. So at the end of the day, we had to sue in civil court for the handful of agents that gave us that roll-up debt. Most of those agents have not paid, but they've probably quit the industry, honestly.
But you still had some sort of a leg in civil court because the roll-up debt went to you. They give you the paperwork to get that to recover, to bring to court. Is that right?
Right. Now, the insurance companies, they have a different policy. They said, hey, this is your balance, credit card or debit card. You have 30 days. And I was like, whoa. I can't pay something that significant in 30 days. They said, well, you can spread it across 12 months if you'd like. Otherwise, we're going to vector you. So I ended up with a vector and still technically have a vector, although payment plan is almost complete. I got about $4,000 left.
You paid the $96,000 back to the insurance company?
Yep.
Out of your pocket?
And, out of my pocket. Some states are different, I guess, because didn't handle that. But civil court garnished wages on these agents and whatnot.
So they paid a portion of it.
There.
How much did it cost you out of your pocket?
About 2 years and a little over $3,000 total.
How much have you spent out of your pocket on this whole shenanigans of this $100,000 of debt, including paying back the debt?
Out of my own pocket, maybe a little 25, 30,000 or so.
So the deadbeats paid money as well.
Most of the deadbeats have paid money.
Did the insurance companies negotiate and say, hey, you don't have to pay us back the entire $100,000, give us 70?
No, that technically we hired them. We're responsible for that debt. That debt ended up rolling up to the upline of Family First Life, who I can only assume paid it off because their contracts never got terminated or whatnot.
Did they ever sue?
They were a lot larger than I was at the time, too.
Did your upline ever sue you for whatever wasn't paid?
They tried, and I had no personal debt. It wasn't mine, so.
So the judge decided in your favor?
Yeah, the lawyers helped out with that.
That's how you only paid $10,000,
right?
25 and not 100.
Now the remaining 4 isn't mine either. It is what it is. I have to pay that off if I want to get more insurance contracts. I can get some insurance contracts.
Okay, the number that you're calling me from, I don't have you in caller ID. Have you signed up for NAIP?
I have, yes, years ago.
Because your number, I don't have it recognized.
It's Google Voice. And like I said, I have to be anonymous for this, but I can certify the senior abuse down in Colorado Springs where that client lives. I can certify XYZ, give a little bit of story behind them too, because we still use and buy their leads, but we have access to better carriers and we ethically replace whenever we can.
Did you hear the Tyra Hamilton whistleblower?
That was sent out today. Let me see. I did listen to that.
It's pretty amazing. Almost a 50-60 minute phone call. Man, this
was crazy.
This woman says she walked by a room that they're spilling all this high level information. She put on the record button.
Yep. And I believe every minute of it because I've shook hands with most of the leadership at that level. And I understood it. I saw it evolve starting way back from 2016. The Mail Pro leads, I know that it might not be Family First Life started company, but they came out of nowhere. But then it's like, hey, well, like we all work in the same office. Hey, why did you get the same lead after buying it? And that was like 2018. So what's going on there? You know, we're just scratching our heads like, this doesn't make a whole lot of sense. At one point, and we started to realize that in 2018, I started asking questions to the corporate level, and they were like, oh, because of the CRM is a CRM, you have to check off that the lead was sold. And then there's like 15 options for like how CRM goes, like first call, second call, third call, door knock. Sold is number 9. There's 7, I believe, more CRM options for that lead disposition or whatever. But even to this day, as we buy leads from them and mark them as sold, we'll have Family First Life agents buy that lead again after we got the policy or whatever. Even through Family First Life carriers.
You're an experienced agent, so I'm sure you're not selling overpriced policies. Is that accurate?
No.
That
is 100% accurate.
You get people do it. It's only the new agents that sell overpriced policies because that's what they're taught to do when they first come in the business. But when you're in this business a while, you realize, hey, that's a bad long-term strategy to selling overpriced policies.
Correct. And that's where the senior and veteran abuse, I was raising a lot of question marks. I called the client because that household was a client of mine for about 3 years. I sold them another policy back in November. In March, they were sold another policy from a Family First Life agent over the phone. Like I can physically see my client face to face. I showed them my quoter, my rating software, and I was like, hey, well, if you qualify for this policy with Lumico, it is the best policy for you. Point blank, end of story. The replacing company from the Family First Life agent was Prosperity. Prosperity was about 4% more expensive. I showed the client that, and I was like, hey, so we're going to go ahead and apply for Lumico. If they say no, then we'll try Prosperity and go right down the list. He got the Lumico policy approved. Everything was good for a few months. Then I get that chargeback in my notifications through the Lumico agent portal. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe he just upped the payment. I don't get a whole lot of chargebacks.
Right.
Because I do the right thing for the client.
Most experienced agents who like to stay in this business don't get a lot of chargebacks.
Right.
It's only the new agents that are always being messed up. They're like...
Right. So that client in particular, I call him up thinking, oh, it's probably like a billing issue or whatever. And we record every phone call out of our office and whatnot. The client was telling me, yeah, I got a call from like another agent saying that policy was no good, that was a graded benefit. And I don't know, like I'm 68 years old. It is what it is. I just listened to him. And I was like, so you listened to a stranger and they sold you over the phone. It's an inferior policy. So not only are you paying more, but you reset your contestability period, and you think that's okay? Like,
how old was this gentleman?
He is 68, I believe.
That's elder abuse.
Yep, and he's a veteran. I mean, he served in Vietnam War.
Which state are you in?
Colorado.
I Google the word Colorado elder abuse. Let's see what pops up. It'll probably tell us what the punishment is. Colorado imposes serious felonies for penalties of elder abuse, neglect against seniors over 70. Man, they made it for 2 years. We do the word exploitation. It's 70. It's
easily.
California, I know, goes 65 or over. I would fall under exploitation. Exploitation would be 4 to 12 years in prison, a fine between $3,000 and $750,000.
Sounds about right. It just irked me personally because I was like, so you're telling me a lot of policy over the phone from a stranger. I've been your agent for several years now. You bought an inferior policy, got the contestability period renewed. So if you died, they could contest that whole death benefit. Your wife is in a compromised position there. So it's like, come on now.
Was it a whole life? Was it a whole life or a term policy?
Whole life.
Whole life. Yeah, they're messing themselves up on the built up cash value as well.
Yep. It's on every level.
Serious stuff. They just threw away cash.
They were convinced that, this guy said that Lumico policy is no good. It was a graded death benefit. I have the call recording. I was like, no, my records say you got preferred rate class, which means it's level day one coverage. And then you go over here to another day one coverage, but you're paying more. less cash value growth, and you reset your contestability.
That was another FFL agent?
It was, and I called that agent up even, and I was like, well, what the heck? Because I need a good explanation on why you replaced this policy unethically. And I found out later that they didn't use a replacement form or replacement statement over the phone, because they're not trained to do that, probably. But Prosperity had no clue on the application there. There's no evidence on Prosperity's end that there's a life insurance policy. So really, this is just a classic case of twisting, lying, misrepresenting a policy, and then churning. Maybe not churning, but definitely twisting.
You actually consider churning if it's coming from the same IMO that's making a double commission. If the lead seller in the IMO are one and the same, it could be interpreted as churning. There is a double commission involved on that first year premium.
Right.
They're overlapping because the upline is making first year premium instead of for 1 year. Now he's made it for 1 year and 6 months. You mentioned, how long did the client have this policy? It's you.
4 months.
The upline got 1 year, 4 months of first year commission versus the normal situation where you only make 1 year of first year commission. If it's the same upline.
It's not. They don't have Lumico.
Bought the lead from FFL CRM and you sold a non-FFL product?
Yep. I don't have any contracts with them, but they give me access to the CRM. I asked, why is that? Because you're making a profit on the lead. Got it. I understand.
Are you still buying leads from them?
Occasionally, yeah. There's not a whole lot of people in Wyoming and Colorado, for example. So any data or any kind of consumer response is helpful. And then it's just my job to see what's going on, how I can help. A lot of them didn't even buy a policy, honestly. The ones that have typically overpriced Americo or something that didn't fit their actual health portfolio correctly.
Okay.
Like I insured somebody in Ohio on a travel trip. This was, according to that particular client, he had bought 2 policies from the same Family First Life office. The first one was a Prosperity term. The second one was an Americo final expense policy. His health wasn't bad. It was just metformin diabetes. And I said, your height and weight is in good order. And if this is all you're taking, like, qualify for return of premium, you're fine. Let's rock and roll, get you approved here. Did that. And I said, stop answering your phone for a year.
Looking at my database, trying to figure out who you are.
When I signed up with NAIP, I was actually still living in Maryland.
Wow, you like to travel.
And since then, I've moved. This phone number isn't in your database for sure. Probably neither of the other 2 phone numbers I have.
This is going to take a forensic. What is your first name?
I need to be anonymous.
First name is fine.
We can say that I'm Greg. Honestly, my friend, just trying to help you out. Some insight too.
You moved to Colorado now, so you're in Colorado?
Yes.
Did you learn your lesson not buying leads from these people once one of your policies got replaced?
Yeah, I learned that lesson, thankfully for me, back in 2018. They've sent me at least 1, maybe 2, I don't know, because I faced hell back then before I moved to Colorado. They sent me at least 1 cease and desist letter about that issue, because I would be asking everybody. I'd be in the Facebook groups like, hey, what's going on here, and have their own private Facebook groups and team groups and whatnot. But
so you made a big stink about this placement.
It's more than 1. I would say it's over 50 before I even recognized, okay, I actually have to get the best companies, because otherwise, if I write an America policy, it's going to get replaced. If I write an Omaha policy, it could also possibly get replaced.
You got to get people the best deal, especially if you're buying leads that are going to a lot of other people. It's part of the experience of being in the same job for an extended period of time.
Early in my career, it really, really helped me identify good lead sources, how to generate my own leads, own website, all that stuff there. Your resources are top notch, and I respect that 100%.
It's part of the business. If you do good by people, you especially online, you get big. So we're going in that route.
Oh yeah.
When I found out about the Greg Birch whistleblower and now the Tyra Hamilton and all those 20 interviews on that YouTube channel, all saying the same thing, and now you, and plus all the people that weren't recorded or did not do interviews, all saying the same story. And I speak to these people on the 6-day per week video conference call, and it's It's crazy that it's all the same stories.
Yep. And your tools and expertise in some of that like marketing stuff, like the SEO and anything like that, have helped my property casualty business.
It's not rocket science. The insurance agent's job is to get in front of people and to close deals. If you outsource that to a third party, it's probably not going to work out, that whole getting in front of people deal, which is lead generation.
Right.
It's not going to work out, as you know, about that replacement.
It gets expensive.
I
And
mean,
it doesn't work.
in essence, you're outsourcing your own job.
Yep.
How many policies did you have replaced by these FFL leads, CRM leads?
I would say at least 50, getting back as far back as 2018.
How many leads did you buy from them?
A little over 7,000 total. I buy leads. I learned very, very early that their internet leads, their social media leads that they sell through the CRM, absolute trash. I'd rather call from a phone book. In fact, I think that's where some of these leads come from, but I can't confirm that.
You would be better off calling from the phone book because you'd want to have someone calling your same people.
That's definitely true. Now, the direct mail lead, I'll take, but only because it makes sense.
There's always a danger if you buy leads from a sophisticated high-tech company that has a big database of agents at their disposal, especially new agents who are somewhat gullible. There's a huge risk that one is taking. It's just too easy to resell these leads to 20 or 30 other people.
Yep.
You're almost making it too easy for them. How much money did you give them on lead purchases?
I'd say anywhere between 25 and 30,000 maybe.
Estimate some sales.
I make sales, They don't go through Family First Life Panel anymore of carriers because we don't have contracts with them, but I make sales off of those leads.
You did initially go through FFL contracts?
Correct. From 2015 to 2018 was when our last contract was terminated with them. I realized early on that the lead department there, you call in, you get set up on a recurring lead order. They help with optimizing your lead strategy. Those leads that you get back on some of those direct mail or Larimer County, Colorado, if we were to do a consistent recurring lead order there for final expense and mortgage protection, direct mail leads, Family First Life will get the lead first and then drop it into your CRM, right? And then after that, if a policy isn't sold within 30 days or so, then it'll go right into the CRM. Even if it is sold a policy, it's probably going to that CRM. I've bought plenty of 1 month old leads. They say they're 1 month old. Because it's been sold once to a Family First Life agent, call them up for the first time, and then they say, it must be the third or fourth call that I've gotten. I only filled out 1 card.
FFL teaches their new agents to sell America way overpriced. Were you able to replace a lot of these America policies?
Where it made sense to, absolutely.
I hate to mention, now I understand why you continued buying FFL leads, because you knew a lot of these clients were buying overpriced policies, and you made money replacing them with decent policies that didn't get replaced.
That's correct, because they can't replace something that's 40% cheaper.
I was wondering why you would keep on buying these tens of thousands of dollars of leads from an FFL CRM, and now I'm understanding.
Great door knocking leads now because I buy a bunch of them, and all they have done for the most part is call. Maybe a senior doesn't answer the phone anymore because they get called for a million other things.
If you listen to a phone call I did with Michael Schless, this gentleman seems to really know his stuff. His marketing company sells America primarily to DUI and bankruptcy, about 3% of their book of business.
Yeah. Parkinson's is right there too. They have a Parkinson's niche.
So if you've got a marketing company that is encouraging their agents to sell this to everyone, it means could come in afterwards, get people a lot more coverage for the same price. When did they realize you were doing this?
I honestly don't think they care because I haven't had a contract with them in 4 years now. I still have access to the CRM. I still have access.
Oh, now I understand why you want to be anonymous, because you don't want them to cut off that gravy train of replacing America policies.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you need me, I can go to Florida.
Skills, you have a job, you have a profession. It's the people that are getting really messed up on this system are these poor people who come in and newly get licensed.
Exactly. And I recruit a lot of these agents, and it's just like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. We need to talk like real business. We need to like get not a fake lead strategy. It's not supposed to be profitable. If you're not profitable, you can't stay in business. If you're brand new, you can't be buying leads that are resold over and over and over and over again and expect to know your underwriting, sales skills, and all of a sudden you're in debt.
I'm gonna keep this phone number.
Use this phone number for my team. I had it for a while now.
I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research to see who you are before anything happens. This company's out to get me, as you probably know.
I can certify by mail. That's probably the easiest or best way. I know how the Internet of Things works.
Have you ever been to any of my 6-day per week video conference calls?
I've been to a couple. That's really about it.
And you enjoy these email blasts that I send out?
Without these email blasts, I wouldn't have known that this is happening to you and that they're coming after you. And you're the one telling the truth. Like, okay, they can just threaten, but at the end of the day, you'll have the upper hand.
They've got some stuff on me. It's not really relevant. They think I'm an easy target. I happen to be outside the United States. I'm a U.S. citizen. It's very hard to come back, to go to court. I have a feeling they want this NAIP website.
Yeah, it's goofy is what it is. Like, I still think you'll have the upper hand at the end of the day. I'll help however I can. You're telling the truth from everything that I've heard so far. Maybe Greg Birch interviewed
Tyra Hamilton. She called my office and she just talked.
I have an attorney also. I talked with them before I even reached out to you because I was thinking about it for a while, reaching out.
As long as you're not lying through your teeth and you know you're lying through your teeth, you're good. Corporations have a huge disadvantage because they have corporate attorneys. The people that are suing me, I know are billing for $1,200 an hour. Anything they file, it costs them literally a fortune. If someone gives an interview by me and they say, hey, I'm going to show up for a trial, most likely scenarios, they're going to deposition that person, which means it's going to cost them $20,000. If I could bring 30, 40, 500 of these interviews, YouTube, and send out those notice to appear as a witness. So the main thing I'm trying to do is get people to act excited. And if enough people act in that way, I would imagine they'll just say, hey, let's bother someone else.
They can bother someone else, but they could also do the right thing. They haven't done that for a while now. I don't think it's Sean Mikey or anyone else at that level. Although money talks, it is what it is. But used to say things like, we never resell leads. Your clients are your clients. You will release upon request. They simply have changed their stance on that. They stopped publicly posting in videos stuff like that. In the back end, I see exactly why. It's because they decided, hey, we're going to start reselling leads. Hey, we're going to start selling books of business, taking clients.
I'm pretty darn sure it's almost impossible to make money from new insurance agents on a grand scale. To become a new insurance agent, you read a book twice, 10, 12 hours. They come in and they just don't produce.
You have to learn sales, you have to learn insurance and underwriting. And you have to go to work. People forget to go to work.
If you get these people to spend $1,000 a week on leads, you're going to make money.
Someone does. It costs $36 to create that lead. You can sell it for $36, and then you can sell it for $12, and then you can sell it for $8, $7, $6, $5, $3, 50 cents.
Based on Greg Birch and Tyra, there's a little bit more profit in it than that.
Yeah, and I believe it. I know it. If I have your address, I can give it to my lawyer.
If you could send it via email, send it to the email that you have for us. What are you going to send?
I can send certified recordings or whatnot. I don't know, but whatever he decides is okay to send in terms of.
You have to know that you do have ethical guidelines in your state. If you know about something criminal, you have to report it to the Department of Insurance. So that's not even debatable. Regarding defamation, saying bad stuff about another party, if you're telling the truth, it's even in that realm. Fact is that I'm outside the United States, and it's hard for me to come to a trial. And I believe they love this NAIP website. It incentivizes them to do this Hail Mary. But you sitting in your part of Colorado, it's a joke. Nothing's going to happen on the defamation side.
Right.
All you do is show up and say, hey, July 2nd, I need to make a response. You make the response. You explain it. It goes before a judge, and the judge laughs at him. You don't want to blow that gravy train having access to that FFL CRM.
Correct. Well, I'll still buy leads from them.
And at least you know the business now that you know you have to get people the best deal. You're completely ethical, because you are getting people the best deal, even if it is a replacement. I would imagine you're doing some sort of high five anytime you hear someone on the telephone and say, hey, they just bought an Americo policy 6 months ago.
Almost. I mean, if it's because I came from an agency that taught me if you ever replace a policy, you need to be 100% sure that you're not going to screw up their contestability period, as in get that client to sign off and say, hey, I want to be able to submit your MVR or MIB report or whatever, just to make sure. Because if you screw something up, now you're on the hook because they had the policy.
For messing up someone else. So you probably collect that extra signature or extra recording that they understand that they're replacing, and they're going to lose out on the contestability. They're going to lose out on the built-up cash value.
Correct. Yeah.
So
you just can't play that.
So you explain it really well, and it's all on recording, and you're good in that regard.
Correct.
Wow. So they're selling you leads, and you've got a gravy train. Wow, that's pretty.
I have no contracts to them, but I have.
So they have they have no idea that the amount of business that you're replacing.
No, and like I said, I personally don't think they care, because if they cared, they would have stopped it.
No, they care, but they're just so big they don't realize what's going on. But I would imagine that their sales are not like they were before. Is that accurate?
I don't. No, I can't confirm or deny that.
But between the FTC cease and desist, and it was all based on a lot of agents coming into the system, getting all excited about, hey, I'm going to make $250,000 a year. And if that ad campaign is over, I can't imagine they're getting the amount of people coming in like before.
No, people are leaving in groves because they see exactly what everyone else is talking about.
And this brain surgeon decision to sue me personally, when I actually agreed to take down everything and like forget who this company was, and they physically said we want to sue David for whatever reason, one of the dumbest decisions I've ever seen. It looks like they got conned by their lawyers who are making all that money. Like, you can't be that's pretty bad. Now I'm forced to get back into this and reach out to people and start talking about this to build to recruit witnesses to appear at that trial that may be next April.
Yeah, I'm willing to come out like day before or day of trial.
Well, you can't just say, hey, show up at trial. You have to send a witness. That's going to probably be 2 or 3 months before. You got a cease and desist them from January 2022? Or
correct, yeah.
You got one personally for posting stuff? So that means you'll probably be cut off from these CRM leads pretty soon. They realize who you are.
Yeah, if they care.
If they do their research, if they do their due diligence and say, hey, who this guy is.
If they cut me off, then it's not going to be the end of the world.
Just by posting to Facebook, they sent you a cease and desist.
Yep, I'm pretty well known around Facebook.
Realm. Okay, so I'll probably figure out who you are based on. Go to Facebook and say, who is this Greg guy from Colorado? Greg, if that is that your first name, by the way?
No.
The gentleman from the mountain states. If you could send that email, I guess you'll probably call me the day after you get cut off from the CRM anyways.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see you then.
Hello, it's Andrew.
Andrew, hi, this is David. We spoke a couple of days ago.
Yeah, I don't recognize you.
You don't recognize me?
No, I speak. So David's a common name. I need some help.
You're the one who called me from that other phone number under Mark Zito about the FFL situation. Took me all of like 5 minutes to figure out, who it was. But it's not a big deal. Here's the scoop going forward. Since I have the right person, I take it you got a cease and desist from FFL. Is that pretty accurate?
All the cease and desist, right?
Yeah, I did see it. Yeah, the Zeta, the email. Okay, here's the deal. I need your help. I know you have a decent business buying these CRM leads, but I'm sure you're probably in shock yourself that it's continuing. Every month it continues is better.
And I feel bad.
Here's how the court system works. When I get sued, you know why they're suing me, because they feel I have a lot of potential. They want to cut it in the bud. But I have the option to say, hey, it's not me. It's all these other people telling me this, and I have no way to prove anything. I'm almost like the reporter. I have to publicize this crap and tell them, hey, sue these people, not me. So if I do that, your name comes up immediately, and when they start doing this stuff, I'm sure they're going to cut off those CRM leads you get, like within an instant second. But it does force you to show up at court. So instead of hypothetically, hey, I'll show up in April, I believe I will, but what happens. If they don't shut off the CRM leads, you don't show up. I'm going to put a list of all the people who told me negative stuff. I'm saying, hey, get the information from those people. I don't know anything. I suppose they're not going to sue and they'll just drop the case. So it's like a weird situation. I enjoyed your promise that you'll be there in April, but something you can really count on.
Yeah, from your position, I understand. Yeah.
I did speak to a person who told me about your system. It's a decent system. It makes completely logical sense. If you saw the complaint against me, they're actually blaming me for replacing Americos. That's one of their bullet points, which is pretty ridiculous since I'm not a licensed agent and I don't have nothing to do with this.
That's hilarious.
I just want to let you in on it so you could prepare. Would it hurt your business a lot if they know what's happening?
It honestly wouldn't. I mean, the CRM lead, I want to say once or twice every week, and less than $500 each time. So, and most of those leads don't even go to me; they go to other agents.
Right. I saw you were hiring other agents to do this. So it's you know what happens if you hire 20 people doing this stuff. Someone's going to say something. Sure, you're probably shocked that it's lasted this long.
I am, but also I'm not even that surprised because I know they make a profit on the lead. The aged final expense direct mail leads they have in their CRM, there's like close to 100,000 of them. I know where they get them from, and they get them like 50 cents, and they just resell it over and over and over. They sell it for $1.50.
So you're buying this data for $1.50?
No, I would never do that.
You got a pretty good deal while you're buying in bulk?
No, I just know where they get the leads from. That's all.
Oh, so you're not.
So I don't buy from Family First Life.
Oh, you don't buy it from them. You buy
Someone
it from
else.
the place that sells them. Now it's starting to make sense.
A lot of the direct mail leads for the mortgage protection direct mail, they get them from LeadCo. Some from a source I haven't found yet. The final expense direct mail, they also get them from RGI. I don't even know the other source, whether it's either Plum or like their own in-house deal they got going on. Those are the only leads I buy. I don't touch any of the internet leads. I don't touch the YouTube leads because I know I could get them the same exact lead for pennies on the dollar, let alone $11.
You're buying it from the same place they're buying it, in essence.
Virtually, yeah.
That'll probably continue. They're not going to cut you off when they find out who you are.
Yep. Well, the actual lead source can't. They're a different company entirely. They don't care what happens to Family First Life.
I would like 5 people like yourself to show up at trial. And if that happens, the most likely scenario is they drop the case. Imagine Greg Burt showing up on the trial, former military intelligence officer, just telling the truth.
They would need dirt on everybody, not you or whatever.
Yeah, they could have it on.
They have to prove that
everyone's lying.
They have to prove that you were malicious or whatever, right?
Right. They have to have malicious, hateful, I'm lying and I know I'm lying. You could attempt to do it on one person. If you get lucky, you're lucky, but you can't really do it on 7 people, especially when no one is lying and it defies logic.
Right.
So, Andrew, I'll do the best I can. When I first knew about this whole situation, I called it the Wolf of Wall Street on steroids. Everyone tells me the same thing, so it's not even controversial. I'll do the best I can.
I got you.
There, you have much more to say. What am I going to do? Like, you're doing this, but I have no proof. I have no knowledge. You could actually physically explain it.